Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Success Series. I am your host, David Berg. This is episode number 44, alongside my co-host, Michael Kanowski. Our guest today, Bracha Banayan from New York City, the founder of IV Drips. If you guys haven't heard of it yet, you will after this episode. Bracha, it's great to have you on. If you can give our listeners a little background to your story, how you founded this company, and what we're doing here with you in New York City today.
Okay, sure. I started IV Drips about 7 years ago. I'm a family nurse practitioner. So I worked at Interfaith Medical Center, emergency room in Brooklyn. I saw how long people waited to get IV fluids. IV fluids is something that can help you in 45 minutes, make you feel better. Whatever, if you're under the weather, hangover, food poisoning, whatever it is, you have it, 45 minutes, you're significantly better. People will wait 5-6 hours in the ER to get these bags of fluids. And I thought, there's got to be a faster way to get this done. So I thought of a faster way to get it done. And they said, what if I just send nurses directly to people's homes instead of waiting 5-6 hours to get this bag of fluids? So I started it with that initial thought, and I saw a good pathway to getting this done. At that point, that wasn't a big thing happening. People weren't getting IV vitamin infusions at home. I also thought, what if we also help people optimize their health when they feel fine, but even feel better? Like, why don't we wait till we're sick to take care of ourselves? And so then I'm like, let's add some vitamins in the bag and help optimize people's health. So that's kind of how it started. I started it 7 years ago, where I was still able to buy the domain name ivdrips.com because it wasn't so popular.
Nobody was doing it.
Yeah. It was the best $2,000 investment I've ever made.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. And so entrepreneurs typically have friends, family, somebody around them, mentors that inspire them to pursue that path. Growing up, were you sure that you were going to be a founder, or was it something that was unclear and just kind of happened? Yeah.
Great question, actually. My father is an entrepreneur. He owns a kosher milk manufacturing and distribution company. I always told him, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to have like a 9-to-5 job. Like, I don't want to do anything with business. I just kind of want to work and go home. That's always what I thought when I was like much younger. And then when I became a nurse practitioner, and even as a nurse, I realized that I couldn't do things the way I wanted, and I had to do everything according to the system. Meaning, if I felt the person didn't need this sort of x-ray or antibiotics, I had to basically do it because that's what the protocols were, or that's what you did to make people happy, or insurance wanted this, and I didn't like that. So when you want to do things your own way based on what you believe is best for the person, there's limited amount of things you can do when you're following a system in a hospital or in a doctor's office, unless you own that practice.
Right.
And so I own my practice, so I do what I believe is best for the patient, not based on, what insurance or something like that.
Right. You keep the patient in mind first, and then...
So I end up being like pretty much my dad.
What are some of the things that you're experiencing now as an entrepreneur, as a founder, that you had no idea would be part of the equation or part of the package of starting your own company?
Good question. Okay, well, when I started it, I had no idea about anything, to be honest. I just had a vision and an idea, and I didn't know pretty much anything. I really, besides my father, didn't have any mentors in my life that owned a business that I could ask questions to. Probably like 3 years into the business, someone asked me, what am I doing for Google Ads? And I said, what's Google Ads? So I really, every single day, and I'm still today learning so much. Today I have so many mentors, and I really believe that mentors are so important. Working with a team, so my team has grown over the past 7 years. Working alone is a lot easier, but there's so much you could do as an individual. Working with a team has its struggles, but if you want to grow a business, it's the only way. And I think for me, that has been the most challenging thing over the past years, like learning to grow my team, learning to inspire them, learning to teach them.
In like one sentence, I'm a consumer. Why would I want an IV drip?
Yeah. What
are the benefits of it? Why can't I just take a vitamin?
Okay, great question. So there are times when you're not feeling well, pregnant or nauseous, hangover, migraine relief, just under the weather, traveling. Getting an IV hydration will help you recover in those sort of instances significantly faster. It's instant recovery because it goes straight into your bloodstream, and the effect of it is so much greater. And then there's the wellness infusions that people just do it to maintain and optimize their health. their hair, their skin, their nails, overall just keep up with their vitamin levels where they do it monthly. Now NAD is becoming super popular. People are doing it for anti-aging reasons. So it's just kind of a way to optimize your health. And especially when you're not feeling well, it's like a game changer to shorten recovery, like shorten illness days. So if you're not feeling well, you want to get it. You're not going to be sick for 3 days instead of 7 days. Once you get an IV when you're not feeling well, there's no going back. Like no one's ever gotten an IV when they're sick and didn't do it again. It's like a guaranteed, a repeat customer once they experience how well it works. You know?
And you feel the results like right away. You feel better.
Away. Yeah. Right.
Wow. So you mentioned like before a fast, for instance, it's become popular to do it now.
Yeah.
Right. And I know not just in Jewish religion, but in general, people are doing intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Are your clients a lot that are they also intermittent fasting and then doing an IV drip, or have you not seen a correlation between the two?
Intermittent fasting, not necessarily. We did it before Yom Kippur, so
right.
we hydrate people before Yom Kippur. Just to hydrate people before you stay hydrated for 48 hours. So that's super popular when people are fasting. I mean,
sure.
I pretty much, when I started the business, that's when we launched right before Yom Kippur, because it was a great way to launch into the Jewish community.
Right.
And that's where I launched my business when I started. So just pre-hydrating before a fast. But either way, I mean, regardless whether you're fasting or not, but it doesn't matter if you ate that day or didn't eat. Hydration is always something that can help you.
Right. I think we're all chronically dehydrated on a continuous basis.
Yeah.
So for myself, I'm afraid of needles. Like I go get a needle even just to draw blood, and I start to get dizzy.
Yeah.
They have to lay me down, and like I start to get the spins.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's more popular in men than women. That's what they tell me.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It is so funny. Sometimes we have
Yeah.
guys that are like fully tattooed up,
Right.
and they're
like juiced up.
I don't do well with needles, and my nurses are like, how did you get all those tattoos?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when a client comes in with that, does it look like a needle? Does it feel different? Like how do you overcome that?
Usually when they'll tell the nurse before, so we'll have them lying down.
Okay.
We'll elevate their foot. But to be honest, most people who are afraid of needles usually don't get it.
Right.
Unless they're like hungover and they're like, I don't care about the needles. I want to feel better now.
Sure.
Or they'll move past the fear, and once they know it's actually not that bad, it's just a little stick.
Right.
So it's really the fear more than anything else. It really doesn't hurt that much.
And you actually experience it.
Yeah, just a little stick, and that's it. And you don't feel, after that, you don't feel it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in building the company, what have you guys scaled to now? How many employees do you have? How many nurses do you have under you? A ton of questions around that.
So we've grown a lot. We started just with doing infusions.
Okay.
Now we do IV infusions. We do NAD injections. We ship vitamins to you. People do self-injections, and we're pretty big on the GLP-1, so like the weight loss industry.
Okay.
Like a big fan. I believe it's like the greatest drugs have ever been created. Ozempic, semaglutide, all these things. So we have scaled so that we do that pretty much in every state. We'll ship it to you. With IV infusions, we're in 7 states. We have 50 nurses. I have 15 nurse practitioners. I have an amazing, amazing team. And then we have about 15 people in the back end office, like
Incredible.
just handling all the logistics operations. Believe it or not, from someone calling to get an IV, for the nurse coming to your house, there's so much back end work that happens for it to be done perfectly.
Can only imagine. Probably 7 to 10 different people involved. Yeah. And so to go on the user interface of booking an appointment or booking an IV drip, how easy is it? And then what is that experience like for a consumer?
So either you just call and give us your information, and we book you in and just confirm the time of the nurse, and then a nurse practitioner will call you and customize your infusion. So how you doing, why you getting it, what's going on, or you book it online. Usually people, when they already know what they want to get, they know what they're doing, they'll book it online. Someone who's not sure, they'll probably call and they'll say, what does this do? How does it help me? Can you explain it to me? Can you come the same day? My mother needs it. Instead of going to the hospital, could we get it? The nurse will come to our house today. So that's like a big thing for people right now. Elderly going to the hospital, you want to get infusions done at home. So those are big things that people will call to help understand that you actually could get it same day service.
You could?
Yeah.
That's incredible. I was going to say, you're like super hungover. You desperately need something same day.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I know in building a company as well, people, they see the glamour, they see the fun, they think it's all sort of, sunshine and roses. What's the actuality of running this business? And what are some of the most challenging things that you deal with on a day-to-day basis?
Tracking. To track things, it's so hard. To really know, like, the tracking about where you're putting X amount of dollars and where it's going. That for me is like my hardest day-to-day thing, trying to understand where the customers came from and trying to plug everything together. I think if you are meant to be a founder, then you love it and you hate it, but it's like the only thing for you. If you're not, then you're not. It's almost, I don't know how else to explain it, but I love what I do. At many days it's very frustrating, but I love what I do. And I love creating, and I love coming up with new ideas, and I get so excited by it.
Yeah.
But there's other things to it that, make it difficult, and you're responsible for many people, and it's not just about you, it's about like making your team win. So when I started, it was very small. It was me. I was pretty much everything. I was the one answering the phone. I was the nurse, and I was the nurse practitioner. I was the person going to your house. I just had 3 different voices.
Crazy.
I was doing everything.
So you're 3 people.
I was everyone.
Yeah.
And then, slowly, we slowly grew as a business. And hire more people. So the structure that I had was independent contractor nurses. The nurses got paid per job, and so that helped me hire more nurses without so much of a starting fee to hire someone. I trained everybody. Everyone was like trained by me. So pretty much, you start a business, you're one-man show.
Right.
I would say when COVID hit, we scaled so quickly, so fast. I mean, there was overnight. I've never seen something like it. We've never scaled like that since. That was overnight our business grew. We had probably 3-day waiting lists.
Wow.
Yeah. There was no way for us to ever meet the demands. And thank God I still had nurses.
Right.
Like competition is always good in a business because people want that product. When I started, it was pretty much me and 5 other businesses. Like there wasn't a lot of people doing IV vitamin infusions. Now it's pretty much, you have like everyone and their brother.
Right. And are you having a hard time acquiring new clients given how competitive the landscape is now?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. We do take care of a certain population. Okay. We take care of more of the elite, wealthier, top 10% home incomes. And we promise elite service. Our nurses are more trained, more skilled. So the companies that are coming about after are usually taking care of people who are, let's say, it's a different mix.
Right.
And so if a short competition always affects the business, but it's good and it's bad in many different ways. And also we have other different buckets. So because we have such a loyal customer base with our vitamin infusions, we're able to offer them other services that they wanted. So for example, 2 years ago, I went into the weight loss business. I gained 15 pounds during COVID. I couldn't lose it. And for the first time in my life, I struggled with weight. So I went on Ozempic, changed my life. And so I thought, this is insane that people struggle to lose weight. And now I do it with my clients, and we've helped so many people not only lose weight, but just become healthier.
Right.
So it's just different buckets. We learn about what our clients want, and then we roll that out as well.
Incredible.
Yeah.
How do you deal with your own internal challenges and insecurities when building a business as a founder as well? It comes up always when you're dealing with employees, investors. It's like you're forced to deal with your own internal stuff before being a public person or inspiring others. How do you navigate that when you're managing employees, nurses, inspiring people, getting people bought into your vision?
In school, I was always remedial, which people find it so weird because they're like, you're so smart. And I'm like, I actually am a pretty slow learner, just a very curious person.
Yeah.
I just always tried like 5 times to get A's. Like I always studied really, really hard. My sisters never studied, they got A's. That wasn't me, I always studied.
Right.
So I always worked, like I was always working by far, like 5 times harder than everyone else in the classroom. And so working really hard is just a part of my nature. Like I have to work hard to get results.
Right.
I'm comfortable with the rejection. I'm comfortable with failing. And I think that when people are like, how'd you start a business? I don't think I ever thought about all those things. I just thought of an idea and I wanted to do it. And that was it. I did it. I don't think I had any other thought after that. It was just, cool, how do I get this done? How do I build a website? How do I do this? So
everything was one step at a time.
Yeah, everything was, I saw the idea in my head, and then I said, what are all the steps that I need to do to get to that idea? And that was the only thing I saw. I don't think I saw anything else. And I'm very curious. So I was just like, oh, I didn't know that you need to get this. I didn't know you need to do this. I didn't know you did. I also didn't know you need to do Google Ads. So I wasn't stressing that I wasn't doing Google Ads.
Right.
Like every day I was learning, and then I was like, cool, is that going to help me get to the goal? Great, let me do it. If not, not. Like, and then I just learned through that way.
Right.
There are times that, for sure, I still to this day think, oh my gosh, I'm doing such a bad job. But I think that every single entrepreneur feels that way. Nothing we ever do is good enough, and we always want to do better. And then there's moments that we're proud of ourselves, but it's moments, and then we move on to do something even better because we want to do more and more and more and more. We want to just do as much as we possibly could in life.
Right.
And I think that's how we live our lives, and we love it. It's so exciting. Like we always want to continue to do more. That's how I view myself.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I'll ask a follow-up. I'm thinking through the lens of my own experience, and I think it's a good way for our audience to also understand it. And I'm only 7 months in, but I would say like once every 3 or 4 weeks, I have like a 2 to 3 day stint where I feel like complete despair. I'm like, this company is not going to work. I'm not the person to do this, and it's just not going to work. And then everything feels like it's just gone down the drain.
So normal.
Just out of nowhere. Like
So
nothing's
normal.
happened, and I just feel that way. So when that happens, I've been able to kind of just push through it. I'm like, I have no choice. But I feel like if it persists, I don't have a good enough system to actually deal with it. Like when there's $20 million in the line and not $1 million in the line, the stakes are bigger. Like, how do I actually push through it? So what has worked for you when those days come up where you're just like, this isn't working for me?
Okay. So one, I just look back at all my successes of what I did do. So I did all this, and not just in business, personal life, different challenges that I went through, that I've gone through, and I got through it, and I'm okay. And I remember those, and I think about how many people in the world could go through what I went through and still be okay, and still smile, and still be happy. And if I could do it, then I could do anything. So I just remind myself about the different things that I went through, and I'm still fighting, I'm still doing, I'm still going. So just, I think about that. So that's what I would always say. Just think about all the amazing things that you've done, and also like how far you've gotten to that you're already above X percentage of the world that hasn't, like that's already an accomplishment. And then just don't benchmark as much as possible. I know it's hard when you're around like a bunch of people who are like, you know, whatever their story is and crushing it, and everybody has their own journey. And so if you don't go through the struggles, you never experience that joy. And that's when they say it's about the journey. If you don't go through the journey, then you'll never actually fully appreciate the goals and the hills that you reach. So always remember, like this, when it's like, oh, I'm not good enough, or this isn't going to work out, my idea is so dumb. By the way, like there was probably a moment where I felt like Ivy Vitamin Infusion's idea was so dumb. But
really? Even after you started it? Yeah.
It could have been that I had that thought. I don't remember, but it's a high probability. Right. You know?
Yeah.
For sure, everyone told me it was a bad idea.
Oh, they did? Really?
Oh, for sure.
Wow.
I don't care what people have to say. Like, I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
So, but I would remember that it's the pain and the pain and the trials of getting to where you need to get to is going to be, that's how you're going to be able to appreciate when you get there. So it's just that's the part of the journey thing. So I think I try to think about that, and because I know even now, like certain items, let's say that I could buy that I couldn't have bought before, it feels different than if like someone paid for me. It just feels different. That feeling to me is so important of independence. Like for me, that's important. And so you don't get to have that joy unless you worked for it. Right. There's literally there's nothing else in the world that someone can't do that for you. It's like exercise. Like someone can't lift the weights for you. Right. You're the only one that could lift it. So either someone else lifts it for you, but that's not going to get you the muscles. It's not going to get you anywhere. So just think about lifting weights. Like I got to lift the weights to get those muscles. And when you have the muscles, it just feels great. So that's like a good thing to think about.
I like that. Yeah. What's the most recent or like the first moment that you can think of where Ivy Drips was starting to be successful, and you had this moment of just like, wow, like I did it, or like I got this?
I think during COVID, it was like when we scaled pretty fast. I was just working nonstop because people were sick nonstop. Right. It wasn't so much like, I made the money that I never thought I would make. It was more of like, wow, I was capable of putting together a team of medical providers to be able to help hundreds and thousands of people. We took care of patients. Like, we made it work, you know? I mean, we took care of so many people. We saved so many lives. Like, I didn't think I just never thought that I was like, this wasn't my vision actually wasn't as big as it got.
Right.
It was pretty impressive to look back and be like, wow, you took care of all those people, and I was just going. We were just going. There was like, because COVID just hit, like
right.
It was overnight, and we did good. I could have always thought, hey, I could have done better.
Sure.
Right. That thought will never go away. With everything in life, you're always thinking that,
right.
but you always just look back. You did good, and you always learn from it and do better again next time.
Right. In the next like 3 to 5 years, what is your vision or desire for IV Drips as a company? Is there an exit plan in mind? Do you want to just continue to scale this forever? Like, what do you feel?
For now, I just want to continue to scale.
Okay.
We're going to probably go into more states, and we're going to do more services. So we're going to start doing more comprehensive wellness. We're moving into more comprehensive wellness field where we do more blood work analysis and help people optimize their health. I think that people don't understand what they could do to become healthier and optimize their health. And so having that set up for them, so that's something that me personally, I've been on a like more of a wellness journey the past few years, so I want to help other people with that now. That is something that obviously we do as a company. I would say I'm more focused also on just like the ideas and the things that I want to roll out, which makes me very excited.
Right. That's where the focus is.
Yeah, it's kind of cool for me. Like, I come up with ideas and we roll
right.
it out, and it ends up becoming like another part of our business, and I love that. And then we get success stories, and I love that too. And then I love when like my people call us and say how amazing our nurses are. I love those things that, you know, you're making a change in not just like your nurses' lives, but your patients' lives, and makes it more rewarding, you know, what I'm doing. So
right. And then for our women audience, it's hard being an entrepreneur. I think it's even harder to be a woman entrepreneur. What's your advice to them? Are there things that you had to deal with that maybe a male entrepreneur wouldn't have to? And then for any young woman that's listening that has a desire to start a company, what would be your message to them?
Okay. Only recently I thought, maybe I wonder if it's a little harder because I'm female, but I don't know. Probably has its perks too. So I don't know how much I could comment on that. I think for sure when you're in a room and trying to negotiate a deal and you're the female and everyone else is male, maybe they think that you're not as much as an asset. But
right.
I don't know. I don't care. Like, just be confident, be good. Like, don't care what other people have to think about you. I think as long as you're confident in yourself and believe what you're going to do is awesome, then that's all it takes, really. I think it's just believing in yourself and having that feeling of abundance, right?
Yes.
What we learn in Kabbalah, just believing in yourself and being open to a world of opportunities. So that's all you need. I think if you're going to think that you're not going to be good enough because you're female, then it's going to affect you even more.
Love that. Love that.
And for any female who wants to, I think anyone who wants to open up a business, one, have a mentor. Try to have a mentor in the field that you want to grow in, and someone that has done something that you want to do. And just because you have one mentor doesn't mean that mentor is going to be that mentor forever. You could just learn from them, and then once you supersede them or you move forward, you learned everything, then you look at another mentor. You don't always need to stay with the same mentor. That's
right.
what I think. And I think that everyone will teach you many different things. Being curious, talk to a lot of people, get a bunch of answers, but then at the end of the day, be confident with the answer that you make. Another thing I notice, a lot of people like think about things for so long, and instead of making the decision, like, don't do that. Just make the decision. Just do things, because people think about ideas and concepts for so long that you could have done both of them at that point.
Right.
So that's like one thing. Like, just do it.
Move quick.
See how it goes. Learn from that, and then go to the next thing. So, for example, if you're going to think about it for this long, really, you could have done this, whether it's right or wrong, it didn't matter. You learned from that and gone here. So by the time you're here, you've already have so much information. So just work faster and learn faster. So if you're not afraid of failing and you don't look at it as failing, just like, cool, whatever answer I pick, and we learn from that and go, like, you could either think about which ad is good, or run all of them and see which one's the best. You know, so I like to just move faster.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. You mentioned Kabbalah, so just briefly, what's your experience? How did you get to study the Kabbalah? And then are you religious? Are you spiritual? Like what's your background? Yeah.
So when I went to the Kabbalah Center for the first time, I went to Kabbalah 1 to David's class.
Okay.
And I would say, because I grew up religious, I'm not religious today. More spiritual. I'm religious in my own ways.
Sure.
I would say it's like watching a movie that you watch, like a movie that I watched as a child, and then watching a movie again as an adult. Going to Kabbalah class was like that for me. I understood everything so differently. It's like you watch a cartoon movie, but then you actually watch that cartoon movie as an adult, and you're like, wow, it has so many lessons and teachings to it. I didn't really understand what they were saying, but now I do.
Right.
So that was what the Kabbalah class was to me. And another thing that I felt over like Rosh Hashanah and like Yom Kippur when I went to the Kabbalah Center was that it's so nice to be with a group of people that are like-minded, meaning a bunch of people who believed in spirituality, believed in a higher being, people who think the same way. It's so nice to be a part of a community where people feel the same way about in that particular concept, which is like so important. It didn't matter what religion you came from, what walks of life you came from, but they all believed in this similar values of spirituality, and I really, really love that. And it's so nice, and it's a really happy place. And I believe being happy is something that's always going to bring someone's blessings in life. The happier you are, the more blessings. And I think that when you go to the Kabbalah Center, you become happier. So
I love that. It's your happy place.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Last message for our audience. If you could go back to your 14-year-old self and tell her one thing, what would be that piece of advice?
Don't worry as much.
Don't worry as much.
I would say, like, I would say not to worry as much, because being worried about things doesn't really always help, and it just takes away from being present, which is the only thing we actually really have in life.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah.
Everybody, if you haven't gotten an IV drip yet, ivdrips.com. Bracha, thank you for being on.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure.